right, everybody, welcome in. Today is going to be a big one because we are actually here at the XRP event in Las Vegas. And guess who's sitting next to me? That is right. Evan and I are actually in the same room. And give you guys some insights as to where the market is going after the Bitcoin conference, where Bitcoin is going, also where Ethereum is going as well. This is one of the issues that everybody's been talking about, and that, of course, is the SEC saying that crypto staking on proof-of-stake network does not involve securities. What that means is it's setting up Ethereum for possibly a huge run. What do you like about it right now? What are you thinking?
Everything, almost everything. Well, the very short term could be a little bit, we don't know what's going to happen in the very short term. That could come down a little bit more. But when we look at the chart right here, the first thing we want to realize is the 2-day looks really, really good here. It looks like you're going to keep going. And I think you got about another month of bullishness into the end of June right here. So 3,200 is really what I'm looking at. If we want to be really optimistic, maybe, just maybe, we can get up to 4,000 again by the end of June before a potential summer lull. And then hopefully into the end of the year, getting up to that new all-time high in that 7,000, 7,300 that I've been looking at somewhere between October to December. Still looking excellent for that. Ethereum versus Bitcoin looks just better than it's looked in years. That 2-day is finally going to come into the green. We could jump quite a bit against Bitcoin, maybe 40% within the next few months against Bitcoin, which would be huge. A major, major recovery here. ETH versus altcoins as well, getting a big jump. This is ETH versus others, basically everything up to outside the top 10 of market cap. Looks like it will get a jump. Rare bullish sign. You got your monthly green Heikin-Ashi candle, so I'm expecting a jump against some altcoins for the next few months. Altcoins probably will outperform it towards the end of the year, though, but it looks really good. I just want to show you short term, just a little bit here. I wouldn't get too afraid. I could be wrong, but I wouldn't get too afraid. I mean, as long as we kind of hold 2,400 or maybe even these lows right here, you should be fine. Your short-term technical target is going to be out of this kind of wedge we've been in. If you break upward, and I think you will, that 3,100, 3,200 that we've been talking about. So I'm very optimistic on ETH right now.
The anticipation of a little bit of retracement, I don't know that it's the post-conference blues, but it's definitely being led by what's happening in the macro markets. Where do you like Bitcoin right now by end of summer? So end of August, where do you think Bitcoin's going to be?
So yeah, if we look at our Bitcoin chart here, and let's go to the Bitcoin. So when we look here, short term, looks like you may come down a little bit. As long as we hold that kind of 100 area, and I think we will, we should be good. When you look at the summer, my main thing, more short term into, I think we got another month of bullishness into end of June, early July. 120 is a very reasonable goal here. As you can see, that 120. I think you will probably get somewhat of a summer lull from that 120, maybe back down to 109, maybe back down to where we are right now. And then that's where things get really good, especially with some rate cuts. A lot of things will be good in Q4. That's where you get up to potentially that 150, somewhere between end of October to end of year. 150 is the big goal here. Can you get up to 200? Maybe, but I think it's more likely that 150K area. And then, like I mentioned, for Ethereum, forgot to share the chart on the last one, but this is kind of the path for Ethereum. 150K Bitcoin, ETH to 7,400.
One of the things that's happening with Chainlink is this right here. This was a recent tweet that gets into, I guess, some pretty big issues. And I guess the question is, when you look at an idea of an oracle, especially on Avalanche, that did not do well in terms of performance, this is the first bad look on Chainlink.
Now let's take a look at the chart. I mean, it's not that bad in terms of a technical perspective. I mean, it's not that bad. You're kind of still forming a generally bullish pattern here, which is your standard reverse head and shoulders, which do very, very, very well in these post-halving years. So I do think, this should be able to break upward to a technical target that should be around, your high 20s, what you were at the end of December. Getting back up to that area should be a high probability by the end of June. And then if you can break above there, which I think you will eventually, then let's really zoom out here at our old all-time highs. Then you would have obviously the $50 range, and then potentially if you can get a really good turnout, $80 by the end of the year. Now, I'm not the biggest fundamental guy on these things, but I usually don't take them extremely seriously. So I wouldn't worry too much about Chainlink, but as with all altcoins, you need to be diversified. There's always going to be risk.
I want to jump over to our next topic, which is going to be SWI. And when you look at what has happened with just the SWI network, this is kind of getting interesting because of the fact that they are starting to move into some other assets. And this, of course, you saw with everything from Claynosaurus. We've seen a variety of Popkins coming on. The point being is that it is going to be another side of the SWE network that could play into Web3. Everybody loves that, so you tell me.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential here. It's a good pattern that I'm looking at right now. I mean, when you look at kind of your 2-day, similar to Ethereum. I mean, the last time you had this jump up when you had your money flow in the 2-day like this. So, I mean, that was a nice 580% jump up. Now, is it going to do that much again? I don't think it's going to do that much again, but can it break upward from, this area right here, giving you a technical target at a new all-time high, which would be a fib level at $6.60. Can you hit that, by the end of June? Maybe. Can you at least get back up to these highs by the end of June? I think that's very probable, to get up to $5 by the end of June, and then hopefully into the end of year. If we zoom out a little bit, you get your summer lull or something. There's always going to be that summer lull. We always see that every single year.
We're going to jump over to Flow real quick, and a couple of points on what's happening with Flow. As you know, this token has been depressed like crazy. Obviously, it's tied into Disney, and what we've seen with not only Disney but also Disney Pinnacles. Is this maybe the comeback period for Flow?
So if we look here, when you zoom out a little bit, we made a lower low than our lows in September of 23. But what's interesting here, you look at September of 23, you have that big jump up. So if we can just hold kind of where we are right now, and this is more of a scalp thing, not a scalp thing, but like a support and resistance thing. There's a good shot that if the market does well, I mean, you don't need to make a new all-time high to get 300% on this, which I think that could be the average kind of return of a lot of altcoins into the end of year. So I think the news needs to work out really well and things need to go well. Then you could get above these points. But yeah, I think there's a good shot of holding where we are right now. I would be careful though. It does look like a weaker one, but sometimes these are a really good gamble. Sometimes these are, you break upward, from this kind of area right there, and then 140. So a lot of potential here, but be careful.
And then when you look at what's happening right now with XRP, we're going to go to that. Weebus International has now come in and basically has done a buy of 300 million worth of XRP to establish a new reserve. So is this now the XRP moment in when it too could make a run into the summer? What do you like on XRP right now?
It very well could be, yeah. I mean, I like how we're looking. I mean, I think that you got a really good shot of into the next 30 days getting back up to these highs, then maybe a little summer low, a little boringness. You need consolidation, and then getting up to my range that I've really been liking between $4.50 all the way up to $6. So, I mean, short term, it doesn't, it could be a little scary short term. You could come all the way down to $2, who knows? But I do think you got a really good shot of eventually jumping back up to this area. I mean, it's the same kind of bullish pattern that you see in a lot of these right now. And I think you're eventually going to break upward. And you got one target, $4, and then after that, $4.50. So, but I think you got at least doubling from where we are right now seems like very reasonable for this.
But let's talk about buying opportunities right now. ETH for sure. We were liking that 100%.
Yeah.
How would you go on the combination of SWE and AVAX right now?
I think AVAX, but I mean, could be wrong.
There's going to be a ton of altcoins, guys, so get ready. We'll be covering more of that. I promise you our production value is not that great today, but we're doing our best. Coming to you actually right here from the XRP Las Vegas event. It's going to be a good one. So, Evan, thanks for coming in on the show today. By the way, if you guys have not checked out Evan's channel, go over to Evan Aldo on YouTube right now and subscribe. And we'll be getting you some more interviews coming from this event. So we'll catch you guys soon. If you're not in the Diamond Circle, get in right now. It's a great place to get additional content. Follow us on X. That's just @Paul Barron. And we'll catch you next time right here on TechPad.